Hello and welcome to the next episode of the official Property Entrepreneur podcast. It is Tuesday, it's time for another episode, and it is the end of Property Entrepreneur 2022. Absolutely bonkers. So the Property Entrepreneur year runs in a number of cycles, and certain people get very confused about this. In fact, most people on Property Entrepreneur probably have never actually cracked how the annual cycle works mentally. So basically, our annual cycle, our year, starts in October. So we start on, say, 1st of October is autumn, 3 months strategy. Then we do our strategy day at the beginning of January. Say, this is what we're going to achieve this year. And the new year starts on the 1st of January, as you'd expect. So the year of, which is your New Year's resolution as a person, as an individual, your new year based on the 3 months of strategy starts on the 1st of January and runs to the end of December. But because we work in line with the seasons, winter is about getting ready to race the next business cycle. And we spend 3 months, January, February, March, in winter doing systems and finance under the bonnet, getting the businesses ready to race. And then the new year actually starts in our businesses on the 1st of April, which some of you will be aware is the beginning of the new financial year. So then spring is Q1, summer is Q2, and then autumn and winter are Q3 and Q4 of the business year. So the personal year runs New Year's resolutions, 1st of January to the end of December, and the business year runs in the financial year, 1st of April up to the 31st of March, which is where we run all of our business accounts. As such, we have just finished the summer, and it is this week the Property Entrepreneur presentations for end of year. And what we do in these presentations is we review two things. So Property Entrepreneur is all about life by design. You might join Property Entrepreneur because you want to make more money, you want to learn how to build a business, you want to buy back your time, you want to scale something amazing, whatever it is. But what you realise is the more you do Property Entrepreneur, it's actually about life by design. And this is figuring out who you are, what you're about, what your values are, how you fit into this world. And then every year playing the game. So every year creating a new strategy, a new target, some new objectives. And the Daniel Hill that's sitting here recording this podcast today is a very, very different Daniel Hill to the person that would have been sitting there doing the same thing 10 years ago, because we all develop, we change, our objectives, our priorities, our preferences adjust. And that's why every year on Property Entrepreneur, we spend 3 months building out our life by design for the year ahead, in this case 2022, and then 12 months enjoying it, executing it, going out and playing the game. And then at the end of the summer, we review it. And we've still got 3 months left of the personal year and 6 months left of the financial year. But this is really where most of the activity has taken place. So you've had 9 months personally, 6 months professionally to go out and execute these plans. And what we do is we sit down and we look at, having been through the championship season, which is summer, where have we got to, what are we happy with, what are we not happy with? And based on our strategy day plans, which we shared at the beginning of January, 9 months later, how does that actually look in practice? And what I thought I'd do today is I'm just going to go through mine with you just to share it. So this is my end of year presentation that I'll be presenting on Property Entrepreneur Advanced at the end of year awards. And we basically get 10 minutes to go through our end of year presentation. So I'm going to share mine with you. And initially I'm going to do the year of, which is the personal review. The year of is your personal life by design. And then headline strategy, which is your business's life or your business's direction of travel. We call it destination in the sat nav, the headline strategy. In fact, I'll do headline strategy first because it's more sort of business, functional, analytic, arm's length. And then maybe I'll spend a little bit more time doing the personal review because I think there'd be a lot of value in there for lots of high performers. So, kicking things off, so this is my 2022, Daniel Hill's 2022 end of year presentation, and our headline strategy for the business, and the business I'm reviewing here is Property Entrepreneur. The end of year presentation for Property Entrepreneur was all about, the strategy this year for Property Entrepreneur, the headline strategy was the headline strategy this year was World Class 2.0. So we've done world class before, and this is, if it was world class before, it's no longer good enough. How do we take it to the next 2.0 level? And execution is everything, which means as a team, we need to execute. We want our delegates to execute, and we want to improve the level of delivery and framework to enable our clients to get the best results every single year. And our new tagline going into next year is going to be your best year every year, because every year I do this, I have another best year on record, whether it's personally, financially, professionally, because I go through this blueprint and set the targets, set the objectives, change gear, shift direction every single year. So your best year every year. Our tangible target, which is basically the way you qualify whether you do or do not achieve your target. So if you say I'm going to run a marathon, if you get past the finish line, that's the tangible target. Or if you say I'm going to run a marathon in 4 hours, 3 hours 35 or less, that's a tangible target, so we can actually calibrate performance. Our tangible target was to beat the 2021 NPS score, which is Net Promoter Scoring, which is what we use to assess our performance. Beat our NPS score by response rate and score every single month. So every single workshop, every single month, we wanted to beat the amount of people that responded to give us feedback. Obviously, that's important. We want more and more people scoring. And then also that we did, based on their scores, we did a better job this year than we did last year. So every single team member, every single program, every single event, every single department is all focused towards that single score. So reviewing the headline target, I would say what we do here is a red, amber, green system. For me, that is a big green. Qualitatively and quantitatively, we absolutely smashed that. So big green tick, really happy with that. Our 3 supporting objectives. The first was norm to perform, back office and budget. So basically we had a big shift in Property Entrepreneur this year. Last year we sold Multi-Let UK, which means we also sold our finance department, our admins department, our ops department. So we basically had to rebuild the back office. And then also within that, we had to reset our budget. So we had a lot of changes in costs. We recruited some new team members and we wanted to run to that. As far as the back office goes, that has been a huge success. Like, I've not been involved in the day-to-day of the running of Property Entrepreneur since, I'd have to go back and check, but certainly not this year, which is a huge achievement and huge credit and recognition to the team who've gone and done that. And not only have they done that, they've built the back office, and this is all credit to all of the team. They've put systems in, scorecards, frameworks, operations, My House, all of the things we need to build the business. It's really refreshing seeing a team being able to do that themselves, and then also in practice for it to work. So that part of it, back office, has been a big green tick. Budgets has been an amber. So we've had lots of overspends due to obviously inflation. We had some credit control challenges, obviously coming out of COVID, going into this year. We had a lot of delegates with businesses that struggled financially. We actually allowed some people to exit the program, which we've never ever done before. We just appreciated that people have come across challenging times, and a combination of the top line being hit and increasing costs, everything from events to marketing, everything from events to team to bringing in new, introducing some, in fact, mainly there was some new costs, but mainly it was inflated existing costs. So hit on the revenue and then increased costs based on inflation, really. And we have seen 5, 10, 20, 30% inflation on some of our costs. And also, we looked after our team. Like, before we even saw how high inflation was going to go at the beginning of the year, we went in and we offered significant pay increases to a lot of our team on the basis twofold. One is that I was stepping out this year. And then second is that we wanted to put them on PDPs and give them the runway to run the company rather than work for the company. And that's been a huge success. But financially, it's meant we've not hit our budgets and we haven't hit our bottom line figures. So it's an amber for that. We still did well, but we didn't hit where we wanted to be. The second objective was world-class community. And this was all about bringing engagement and experience into our community. So the community is a huge part of Property Entrepreneur. The experience and the events, huge tick. We leveled up the staging, we leveled up the lighting, we leveled up the production. I'd like to think that we leveled up the delivery and the planning and the content. So we worked really, really hard to do that. And based on the scores, we did really well. So the events, really big green tick for all the team there. Unfortunately, I would say the community and culture, which is the engagement element, has really suffered this year. I'd give it an amber because I'd say compared to other communities that are out there, we still put far more time and effort into making sure our delegates have got what they need. They've got somebody answering their questions every single day. Nobody's ever waiting. There's bonus content. We're always available to help. 95% of Property Entrepreneur happens outside of the room, outside of the monthly events. But I would say there's definitely been a shift of coming out of lockdown where we had loads and loads of engagement to people being busy. Lack of engagement in some of the extra sessions we do because people have just been, anyone out there now is just so busy. That's definitely been impacted. And then I would say also with all three of the main trainers, myself, Adam and Josh, all retiring, semi-retiring, stepping down, I think we lost some of that camaraderie, culture in the process. Now, the clients and delegates may or may not have experienced that. I would say we still deserve an amber because it's still well above what else is happening out there in the market. But going into next year, it's going to fundamentally change. Like, we've rebuilt the whole thing based on our experience this year. And if we're able to deliver it, it will be, it'll be a green or a gold, just taking it to another level. And then finally, one-stop shop. The Vault, which is our new platform for our advanced property entrepreneurs. So they've got a constant back office of resources, training, recordings, templates, whatever they need, whenever they need it, is now launched. So that's gone really, really well. And then the second is the Blueprint, which is getting our Blueprint book written out to print. So it's there ready for next year's campaign. Scores on this, I would say the Vault version 1 is an amber. It's there and it's really easy to use. It's nice and smart. It's probably got another 20% worth of tweaking to get it up to world class, but I would say it's live, but it was late, and I think we could have been quicker. We messed around with some different options. It got delayed for various reasons. It's live. We've ticked the box, but it's an amber. We could have done better. And the Blueprint is twofold. The Blueprint book is an amber because we've got Karma credits coming out next month, which is looking really good. Very excited for that. Decided to prioritize that book instead of the Blueprint. So that's an amber because we did get a book out, but not the Blueprint. But then the advanced Blueprint, this is a huge green, if not a gold. We got so much. We went out to our clients this year because we had a couple of years of COVID and we've expanded a lot and we've leveled up, and the market's a very different place. And we got lots of feedback as to how can we take this to, it's already world class, how can we take it to the next level next year? And we got so much good feedback. For advanced next year, we've actually completely rebuilt the program, and I've rebuilt the Blueprint for Property Entrepreneur Advanced, which now we've built it seems like a no-brainer. I can't believe we never had it before, but it's going to be an absolute game changer. So that's a huge green, if not a gold for that one. So that's professionally. That's my sort of end of year review of the Property Entrepreneur company, which is the one I'm sort of actively reviewing tomorrow in the end of year presentation. We've obviously got lots of other companies, which I'm not covering in this session or that. I've got other team members doing end of year presentations for other businesses, the guys who head up those companies. Personally, every year we have what's called the year of, and you have an affirmation board, which I've got in front of me now. It's basically October, November, December. Who am I? What do I want? What are my 3 personal objectives? What are my 3 professional objectives? And what do I want my year of to be for, in this case, 2022? And this is where we talk about your life is not a book. It's a series of chapters. I can go back to these for like 5-6 years. And some years have been amazing. I've loved it, like frugal hedonism. I went from living in a mansion with supercars to living on a narrowboat on 750 quid a month, and I absolutely loved it. It was one of my favourite years of my life. Like completely extreme, completely different, but absolutely loved it. And then other years like purpose-driven living, when I went back into Level Up 2019, when I did Level Up, wanted to break every record under the sun, broke records. Broke a world record for fundraising, had our most profitable year on record, bought 3 companies, did a body transformation, went absolutely bonkers, and I just really didn't enjoy it. It didn't give me what I wanted, didn't feel happy, but it's nice to chalk it up as an experience. This year, 2022, my year of was called the year 2022, the year of the 12-hour work week. And the concept here is that I would work Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 10 till 2. So 4 hours Tuesday, 4 hours Wednesday, 4 hours Thursday. And then outside of that, I'd be off the grid, ideally not working and just doing my own thing. You know, my whole concept was I've done 10 years in this. I'm burnt out. I'm exhausted. I just sold a big company. Do I really want to go into this again? And what I wanted to do is have a year of figuring out, is there more to life than business? And actually, you know, I've just been addicted to it. I've been blinded by it. I've just been blinkered. Or do I take some time out, see what the crack is, and then realise, actually, I do enjoy it. I do love it. I just need to make sure I don't, you know, stuff my face and make myself ill. So this is 2022, the 12-hour work week. So headline, feedback and sentiment is I found this year really, really quite challenging. It was very difficult. It was very uncomfortable. And there was lots of really significant changes. And going into the year ahead, some of them, so one of the things to talk about is some things are stops and some things are stays. A stop is, you know, you stop off, experience it, say, yeah, this is interesting, but it's not for me. And then you just get back on the bus and you head off. Or a stay is you get off the bus, you experience something, you think, you know what, this is amazing, I'm going to stay here. And stops for me has been things like masochist mode. You know, I can do a bit of masochist mode every now and again, but I wouldn't want to do it 12 months of the year because, you know, it'll absolutely break you. Whereas a stay is like low overheads. Like I pride myself on low overheads. I love having low overheads. I flirted with having higher overheads. And, you know, when I bought the supercars and lived in the big house and all that, not for me. Didn't enjoy it in the slightest. This year's been very similar in the fact that I've had some things that are going to stay and some things that are gonna go. I would say the good thing about this year is it's been a circuit breaker. Like it's really pushed me to go outside. Like when I had to do a 12-hour work week, January was just horrendous. It was like my work phone off outside of 10 till 2. And bearing in mind before this, I was addicted to my phones. Like not necessarily as soon as I get up, but all day, every day. Like who's messaged, who needs a response, who needs help. Very much in there, not in the trenches, but like helping my my board members, my directors, the people who run my companies for me, just being there, even for anyone, just wanting to constantly be readily available and having a degree of badge of honour and pride of being always available and always at work. And I really knew that I needed to get rid of that. That's an example of something that's gone, and I won't go back to it. You know, I feel very comfortable now turning my phone off on a Thursday night. And I think as well, the Monday and Friday off the grid will stay. Now, I choose to work Monday and Friday now, but I'll be at a spa or in a cafe and I'll be working on a new deal or a new strategy or a new investment. I'll be doing something real high value that I enjoy. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is a bit more functional, you know, supporting the team, helping with questions, running the businesses, or, you know, helping the team to run the business, those sort of things. So that sort of structure stuff I'll definitely be keeping. But the idea of, so I've had some real key learnings about who I am as well. And I'll come on to these probably shortly. So to review my objectives, personal and professional objectives, my personal objectives for this year was now or never, travel and adventure. So I've said for years, you know, do I need to see the world? Am I missing out? You know, there's a whole world to see and I've got the time and the money to do it. Should I be out there exploring the globe? The second is peace of a pensioner, presence and gratitude. I used to move around a million miles an hour, always not chasing my tail, but always running on full speed, full tilt, bang, 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 like getting it going. And I remember someone, I think it was my life coach, who coaches all the board members, and she said, what would the definition of success look like with this one? And I said it would be able to sit down at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock in the morning with Sav, my partner, and eat my breakfast and just be present, not sitting there thinking, oh, I need to get on my laptop, I need to do this, I need to get on my phone, I need to do this. Piece of a pension, just be like, have that peace and that piece of a pension where everything's amazing. I don't know if you've got an old person in your family that's like, you go around, they're like, oh, do you want a slice of Battenberg? Oh, this is delicious, dear. Oh, it's so nice to see you. Oh, this is lovely. You know, they're just grateful for everything. Everything's amazing. Everything's lovely. I don't know if you know any sweet old people like that, but I wanted to sort of adopt that mantra and mindset. And then also just presence and gratitude. I feel like I've gone through periods of my life of like living in tomorrow, and then I've gone through periods of my life of just being so busy in today that it's like just trying to stay on the treadmill. And it was just that presence and gratitude that I was looking for. And then the third was get a life. I spend a lot of time working. I spend a lot of time with my partner. It's like, what other things should I be doing or could I be doing? And it was get a life, book it in and make it happen. So go into socials. Just basically the answer is yes. What's the question? Going to Glastonbury, going for a weekend away, going and see family, going to a race day, whatever, anything I was invited to go for it. So they were my personal ones. And then professional was raise my rate, which was get a book out, level up the podcast and raise my profile. The second was oversubscribed. The answer's no, sorry, which is basically say no to new opportunities rather than say yes. And then the third was disconnect, was rebuild the businesses that I've still got, restructure the portfolios, and basically promote or recruit people to run those companies. And as long as I defined it and delegated it and they got it done, it would be success in my book. So personally, now or never, travel and adventure. Now, I would give myself an amber for this. 2 reasons. One is I took a number of breaks. I went to Thailand for 2 weeks with my partner. I took a number of long weekends. And honestly, for both my partner and I, we didn't enjoy being away at all. Like, we like home comforts. We're very simple people. We like being at home. Being in the hot weather with a load of tourists, being on a beach, eating foreign food for 2 weeks. Like, it was fun and it was novel. And the first time I had street food, I thought my life had changed forever. After a week or 2 weeks, it really wasn't ticking my boxes. And that was quite an interesting one for me. But I'm going to give myself an amber because when it's like now or never, travel or adventure, I felt like I was like, great, I've completed this one, because the answer for me is never. I don't want to go abroad. I don't enjoy the beach. My idea of fun is, and these are some of the conclusions I came to, my idea of fun is more in my head than it is external. So like the idea of going out on a moped or a jet ski or whatever the sort of external fun things you might think of, they just don't float my boat. The idea of fun is more like in my head. It's having deeper, meaningful conversations. It's creating things in my head. They're more internal feelings and activities than they are external. I'm more of a internal person. Someone says, "Oh, do you want to go and do whatever? Face painting, tomato race," these sort of things that you look at and you think, "Oh, that looks like a load of fun." One of the other conclusions I came to is life looks a lot better in the pictures. Everyone says, you've got to go to, I can't remember what it's called now, Phi Island in Thailand. You've got to go to Phi Island. You have got to go to Phi Island. Well, okay, yeah, cool. We'll go on the day trip, go see Phi Island. And it was just I just did not see the appeal. Yeah, it was nice to look at, saw the big rock, but it was roasting hot. There was not really anything to do there. It was I just didn't see the appeal at all. And we took the tourist pictures and we took our tops off and we sat in front of the rocks and did all of that stuff. And we stopped off on the halfway on the lunch on one of these islands, and we both said if there was anything we could do to get a boat to take us back now, we would, but we weren't. We were on a boat with other people. We were like, nothing can get us out of this situation. We're on this island in the middle of nowhere in Thailand, and we've got another 4 hours, and we're counting down the hours till we could just go home and chill out and do our own thing, rather than being on a boat eating whatever it was. I like foreign food. I'm not saying anything against foreign food, but it was just chocolate biscuits. It was oh yeah, who wants a snack? Keep your energy up between islands, and they were biscuits with chocolate in the middle, and you're drinking bottles of Coke. And I was just yeah, it's just novelty wore off for me pretty quick. Anyway, losing you a little bit on that one. So travel and adventure now or never. Amber, because one is it's ticked my box, it scratched my itch. For the minute, I've shelved the concept that I need to see the world. However, I think in the same way as if you were to give up smoking or sugar or alcohol or whatever, just because you give it up for 2 weeks and then say, oh, do you know what? I've decided I'm not gonna give up cigarettes or alcohol or sugar or whatever. and you decide to go back to it, maybe that's not really, you haven't really given it a fair crack. So I think there's another layer to that. I think there's probably some more deep work to do there. Probably another chance to go and explore it. But for now, I would say it's an amber. I'm happy with it. It's scratched my itch. It's taken it off the list. It's one less thing that I need to worry about or question in my life. Second, piece of a pensioner, presence and gratitude. Now, this is an interesting one because I would say this is a big green, a big gold tick, because I've absolutely completed it. Like, I've invested a lot of time, energy, focus this year on this. Everything from meditating to diet to exercise to routine to spiritual practices, reading, philosophy, supplements, everything. Like, really, really gone to town on this one because it was really important for me, for my own like mental well-being and mental health. And I would say, and this is one of my biggest successes, which we'll come on to, is it's been an absolute game changer. It's fundamentally changed my life, and I'm really, really pleased with it. However, it's also detrimental. Now, this is always the balance. One of the things I'll talk about is if you want to find the sweet spot, you've got to go to both extremes. So if you want to know how to balance your diet, you've got to be overweight, 10 kilos overweight, drinking beer, feeling like crap, not sleeping, having health issues, like heart palpitations and sweats when you're walking up the stairs. You've got to be out of shape to experience what that's like. Equally, you've got to go to the other end of the extreme where you're super lean, you're down in single-digit body fat, you do a 14-week in a calorie deficit, doing 20,000 steps a day, and then eventually you find the sweet spot in the middle. That's cool. I would say this is the same, is I've gone now to the opposite end, and it's like, if you think about what I said about to my life coach, Louisa, was the definition of success for me would be I could sit down and have breakfast with my partner without feeling like I need to get back to my laptop. Who's messaged me on WhatsApp? I need to be doing productive stuff. And I've absolutely completed it. Like, I'm the most chilled, the most relaxed. My mind is still. I've absolutely completed this one. But I would say also I've lost my edge. It's been detrimental. It's slowed me down. I feel completely chilled and passive, which was the objective. But be careful what you wish for, because I wouldn't say I'm enjoying it. I would say I'm enjoying. You may have heard the quote about life is not about having more, it's about wanting less. And I've definitely got rid of the want to slow down, chill out, be more middle lane. I've definitely got rid of that want. But now it's actually, I've got the solution, but it's replaced it with another problem, which is always the danger with these things. So it's good. It's got my practices in. Definitely a big green tick, a gold one, but also now it's probably gone a bit far. So I need to get the balance back in that. We'll talk about that in a moment. Get a life, book it in, make it happen. Did that. Green tick, gold tick, booked everything in. Family weekends away, Glastonbury, music festivals, holidays, socials, track days, you name it. If somebody said, do you want to do this? My answer was, yep, I'm there, sign me up, let's just do it. What did it do in practice? It made me try a few things that I wouldn't normally try, which is good. Like, for example, Glastonbury, I absolutely loved it. I didn't think I'd enjoy it. Absolutely loved it. Equally, it reminded me that everything in moderation, including moderation. Again, one extreme to the other. It got to a point where Sav and I looked at the calendar and we were like, it's 5 weeks until we've got a weekend at home on our own. And we were like, this is just, it became, he looked at the calendar and thought, this is not what we're looking for. And I actually asked a few people, I said, look, if you spend every weekend away on holiday, entertaining with friends, do you actually find that enjoyable or do you get sick of it? And the majority of people were like, oh my God, it absolutely the same. We sometimes you just got to have a weekend at home. So again, another example, I would say I did it, booked it in, had some life-changing experiences, good and bad. And the reality is everything in moderation, including moderation, and come up with some new rules. Like 2 nights, 3 days is like the rule for me. If I'm away for 3 days, 2 nights, that is the absolute sweet spot. I love that. It works really well for me. Professionally, raise my rate, the book, the podcast, the profile. So professionally, objective 1, raise my rate. Absolutely. I've worked less this year than I've ever worked, and I've probably made more money this year than I've ever made. So that's a great position to be in. The book, Karma Credits, is due to be out on the 7th of October. So subject to hitting the deadline. The book is done and out, which is great news. The podcast has just gone from strength to strength. So thank you again to everybody who shares and subscribes and supports it. Every week, without fail, we're getting hundreds, if not thousands of more downloads, listens, referrals, the amount of random people that I bump into or meet who know about what we're about, what we do, who I am because of the podcast. It's absolute game changers. That's worked really well. And then profile, investing in my profile, absolutely. I've done the influencer studio with the oversubscribed marketing company, oversubscribed.co.uk, one of my portfolio companies, and it's been a game changer. Like LinkedIn, Instagram, Reels, Facebook, just taking everything to the next level, and that's worked incredibly well. We're getting tens of thousands of new connections, likes, impressions every month, so it's great. And it's been less of my time, so the input I have is very high value, but the heavy lifting and volume I do is very, very low. So that's worked really, really well. Second one is oversubscribed. The answer is no, sorry. My plan this year was to only get involved in one new opportunity, which would be something I'd test for my 10%, and I'm pleased to say absolutely nailed that. The only new opportunity I've taken on is the private school roll-up that we're doing. Bought 2 private schools, got 3 more which are due to complete this month, and then 3 more lined up. That's the only new thing I've looked at, and it's stayed within my 10% of time allocated, which has been really great. So I would say a big green tick for that one. And then finally, disconnect, define, delegate, done has been a huge success. Like, one of my big things this year is I've really leveled up to the next level so much that we're adding another layer to the property entrepreneur methodology. So we have landlord. If you didn't listen to Know Your Place, go back and listen to that episode that I did a couple of weeks ago. I talk about the levels: landlord, one-man band, investor, small business, entrepreneur, big business. And then above that now, we're going to have the angel, which is basically like what I've done a lot of this year, is basically just be not even a managing director or CEO, just a non-exec board member. And I've been doing it for a few years in different capacities with incubators, other companies, consultancy projects, even the board members. I mean, I've been doing it for 10 years this year for the board, meeting up every month in a boardroom and being their non-exec director to help them with their businesses. That really is now where my strength is, because I have come to the end of my journey of heavy lifting, being a masochist. I don't have the drive and energy that's required to compete at that level anymore. Now, you have to have that. I'm working with my incubator businesses. It's so refreshing to see. I look at them, I think, wow, you've got the energy it takes to make this. I really don't anymore. I think maybe if I lost it all, like touch wood, that will never happen. Covered all bases. If I had to go back to square one, would that give me the motivation and the energy and the drive to do it again? Potentially. But equally, there is a small window of like 5 to 7 years where you've got that energy and that drive to go relentlessly against all challenge. And then hopefully you break through, get out the other end, and, it's you can play at a different level. So disconnect, define, delegate, done. That's been a big one for me this year. Is if you want to, what I've done there is basically looked at. I've basically taken world-class talent and given them world-class packages. And before we even heard of inflation, we were offering 10, 20, 30, 50, 100% pay rises on PDPs, just purely because the objective is I'm stepping out. There's an opportunity for those who want to step up. If there wasn't somebody, we'd go out and recruit and get them to step in. And then the whole portfolio of companies has been rebuilt this year. And I can genuinely say the concept of me disconnecting so the businesses run independently of me has been a huge success. I've been very clear and invested the time with our senior team and our HR team to build out PDPs, progression plans, coaching, to make sure that everybody knew exactly what was required. It was delegated to the people and they had the right capacity and expertise to do it, and then getting it done, fair play to them, with the right capacity and the right expertise and the right packages. It has been a huge success. And again, that would be something I keep. I don't intend to go back into an executive role, and I think I'll probably even move out of anything that looks remotely executive. Probably look going into next year at that in some businesses. So yeah, it's been interesting. So I'm gonna finish off with a few of the points that I have to do for my presentation, which is 3 significant successes based on the year that's been. I would say the first one is, which is life-changing, is I've cured my anxiety. So when I did my cut in 2019, I didn't even know what anxiety is. You probably heard me talk about mental health and things like this before. I didn't even know what anxiety was. And when some of the people in the business used to come in and say, "Oh, I feel anxious, I've got anxiety issues, etc." Like when they had challenges at home or in meetings or challenging conversations, things like that, I didn't really get it. And if I'm honest, I used to be like, pull your socks up. You must just be a bit tired or a bit upset or a bit nervous. Let's just get on with it, because I never understood what it was. And then when I did my body transformation, it gave me anxiety during my cut. I did go down, for 14 weeks, I was cutting like 500. I was in like a 500 to 800, sometimes even 1,000 calorie deficit a day. And it just really exposes you to your weaknesses or to your vulnerabilities. And anyway, after that, I had anxiety for about a year, and it sort of came in and it went out, and I sort of always carried this sort of feeling of it. And now I understand what it is. It's like, it's a medical, mental, psychological, physical condition. Let's just call it a condition. It's like, it's a thing. It's mental health is a thing. Mental health is health. It's an illness. If you have mental health challenges, they're illnesses that need to be looked after. And I was just absolutely committed this year to try and manage it without drugs, without anything prescribed or anything like that. Just really focus on my well-being and try and get it back. And genuinely, from going back to the gym, supplements, meditation, all of the practices that I talked about with 𝗘𝗵𝗶𝘀𝗁, cutting off my phone, all of these things, I genuinely have cured my anxiety. And maybe it turns up like maybe once a month, and it'd be if I've undereaten or my body fat goes too low or I forgot to take some of my supplements. I have come off a lot of my supplements, things like magnesium, CBD oil. I used a lot of that to calm my brain down. Obviously, there's always a tapering in and tapering out. I've come off the majority of those now, and actually, everything's kept balanced and at bay. And also, it's a combination of not being in the firing line. If I'm in a non-exec role, I'm very much arm's length from being in the firing line, and anxiety is often caused by challenges, stress, the day-to-day problems which come with being a director, a senior team member, an entrepreneur, an investor. So yeah, cured my anxiety. That's been a huge success. The second is wrote my first book. That was something I've put off for a long time, but now that it's done, it was actually a really smooth process. Really enjoyed it. Looking forward to it coming out. And hats off and credit to Emma True, my executive assistant, who basically coached me through it, and then Rethink Press, who've been the publisher for that. And then finally, significant successes is leveling up. I really have leveled up to that next level now, and it's really hard and it's challenging, and I will have to keep an eye on it, because it's like, one of the big things is moving from heavy lifting to heavy thinking. And it's very hard for me not to work hard. I associate a level of satisfaction from working hard, whether it's in the gym or it's in the business. My work ethic sort of rules. And it's very hard to think that I add more value now sitting there with a blank piece of paper or on the phone to somebody or in a board meeting just talking because of what I know and what I've learned than heavy lifting. And that's something I'm looking forward to progressing more, but it's definitely been quite challenging. But that's definitely the clear thing for me, is I've leveled up to that level now. Biggest challenge through all of this has been, I alluded to it, I've slowed down and I've got the peace and the relaxation and the presence, but it's gone too far. Like I'm really, the biggest challenge I've had is motivation. So my aim of the game was to be completely chilled, completely laissez-faire, nothing matters, I'm really present, I'm really grateful. But as an entrepreneur, you need a degree of like, bang, let's go get this, beast mode, adrenaline, anxiety. You need that good stress to push you forward. And I think that has really let me down. I think I have, some of my results have been lesser this year because I've lacked that motivation and that drive. And this has been a really big sort of challenge for me, is trying to keep peace and chill and relax whilst not allowing myself to get lazy. And that's been a real challenge. And I don't want to mispaint the picture, because I haven't been lazy, as if, obviously I'm trying to justify it. I haven't been lazy, but it's been like everything's felt like a bit of a struggle. Everything's felt hard work. I've sat down, I've got it done, whatever it takes, but I've been swimming against the tide, if you know what I mean. I've been swimming upstream, whereas previously, when I'm a million miles an hour, you don't even have time to think. It's like bang, 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 bang. So it's a lot of work to do there next year. My biggest lesson learned, and this is a real game changer, is, and this will apply to some of you, this applies to all of you, but at different levels, is you can either suffer by, we talk about life by design or life by default. So life by design is you create your own life. Life by default or life by comparison is basically what everybody else is doing. Life by design, we spend 3 months every year creating our life for 2023. Or life by default, we just default to whatever the world's got to throw at us. And what I've realised this year, from having the space to experience life in its full potential spectrum, whatever, is you can either suffer by design or you can suffer by default. And what I mean by this is, if you choose your own challenge and something you want to get involved in, whether it's raising money for charity or it's going on a growth strategy with your business or doing a big development that's going to push you out of your comfort zone, or expanding into another country, or going from a local business to a national business, or going from doing £1 million developments into multi-million pound developments, whatever it is, if you choose your own challenge, then you choose your own struggle, and you can suffer by design, because on a daily basis you're worried about where's the funding going to come from, where are the risks, this has gone wrong, and you have this challenge that you've chosen. You've chosen it, and hopefully you get a good outcome. Success trigger, feels good, maybe some recognition, maybe some finance, whatever, but you've chosen it. If you don't choose that, and I've talked about this for years, like, you will always, the human brain is designed to stop you for two things. One is to stop you from doing anything painful, and the second is to find something to worry about. And I'll talk about my granddad. Like, my granddad's in his mid-80s now, and I go around there and visit him, and he will, if I see him on a Wednesday, which is like bin days on a Thursday, the council rule is you're not allowed to put your bin out before 7 p.m. on the night before the bin day. His neighbour, for whatever reason, maybe his neighbour watches Coronation Street and it starts at 7. His neighbour always goes out about 6:45 before you're allowed to put the bins out, and puts his bins on his drive so he can do whatever, have his dinner or whatever. And when you've got big challenges like running businesses, recruiting people, doing big deals, raising finance, whatever you're doing, selling companies, you don't have the time to worry about what time the neighbours are putting the bins out. Whereas when you have time to worry about it, my granddad will sit there and you can see him getting anxious from about 6:30, looking out the window, looking through the curtains, like twitching, waiting for him to put it out. As soon as that guy wheels his bin out at 8 minutes to 7, my granddad goes, "Oh, I can't believe it, he's done it again. He knows that they're not supposed to be putting those bins out till 7 o'clock. Oh, I'm going to tell the local MP, I'm going to write a letter to the Prime Minister." Like, you've got to have something to worry about. And he chooses to worry about the neighbour's bin. And I suppose this is what I've realised this year is obviously it depends on who you are, what profile you are, what human design you are, what your brain frequency is, whether you're tempo or dynamo or blaze or steel, whatever it is. But you've got to have something to worry about. And either you choose your own challenge and you go out there and you have struggle and pain and difficulty on something you've chosen, like going to the gym, doing hill sprints, buying companies, flipping developments, whatever. You've chosen that. That's your journey. That's your challenge. And it's by choice. Or you step back and you just live your life. And then you find problems in your life. Oh, I don't feel happy. Oh, I feel bored. Oh, I lack purpose. Oh, I don't have any motivation. Oh, the car needs a wash. You'll always find something to worry about. I think the big thing for me was, like, I've really missed this year motivation. I've missed having a purpose. I've missed having a mission. I love going on that big journey, and this is a big thing for next year. You'll hear about it in due course, but I've already chalked up what my next big mission's going to be. Big mission, big challenge. And the reality is, like, in life, if you, whatever level you understand this at, let's just say at the end, the world is going to end, right? Whether it's in 100 years or 100 million years, either the sun's going to expand and boil the oceans, or we're going to get hit by a meteor, or there's going to be a nuclear explosion, or World War III or whatever. At some point, the world is going to end, or even at some point, you're going to die. We're all going to die at some point, and it doesn't matter it doesn't matter who you are. whether it's 200 days or 200 years, eventually you'll be completely forgotten, like you've never existed, and the world and everything's going to end anyway. So in reality, nothing matters. Like when you look at it, it's like, what's the point of doing anything? There isn't really. In a world where nothing matters, you get to choose what matters. And whether this is you start a family and you have children, and I do think this would be a big one for me, and that becomes your anchor. Or you've got a big target that you want to become the UK's #1 property investor, or you want to win a bodybuilding competition, or you want to run the fastest marathon anyone in your running club's ever run. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. And that is really important as well, remembering that, because in your early days you think it all matters and you think that this is life and death, and it's nice to be in that. And I admire those that are in that space, because I used to be there and it was life or death. And when you get to the top and realise it's not, there's a challenge waiting for you there. You know, every level has another devil. And that's been a big one for me this year, is I'm ready now. I figured out that I enjoy work. I need to make sure that it doesn't consume me. I need to make sure that it serves me, doesn't punish me. It serves me rather than me serving it. You know, I need to enjoy it. It needs to be engaging. But I'm a busy I like being busy. I like being productive. I like having purpose. I like adding value. There's certain things I like to do. And having experienced retirement, I'm not ready to drink tea in cafes and read books in the afternoon and go to spa days in the middle of the week, and all these things that I've tried this year and failed at miserably. I like to have a big challenge. I like to have purpose. I like to go to bed excited. I like to get up excited. If you're not listening to my Meaning of Life podcast, you would have heard a lot of this stuff previously. This is all the stuff I've been working on this year, and that's where I've arrived at. Final things, deal of the year without a doubt is 𝗂𝗃𝗃. It's an absolute banging deal. If you've not heard about it, go back to the 𝗂𝗃𝗃. Go Deals podcast. I think it's called the £10 million deal everybody else missed. And then year of. So this is one thing that we've added to the board this year, is at the end of the presentations, if you had the opportunity to rename your year of, so mine was the year of the 12-hour work week, looking back, would it be the same or would you change it? And I did this with the incubators last week before last. And actually, they all said, in review, I'm pretty sure they all said they would keep it the same. It's been pretty much on point. It's really delivered. It's done well. So I was like, fair play. That's really, really good. For me, looking back, the year of the 12-hour work week, would I rename it? And I would say, yeah, I probably would rename it if I wanted to look back and read this chapter again and try and acknowledge from the contents page what this year was for me. And I would say, looking back, it's been the year of searching. I spent all year searching for answers, searching for change, searching for solutions, searching for purpose, searching for all of the things that I've talked to you about. And I would say it's been searching. It's been a real searching year. And it's been nice. Something's been life-changing for the good. Something's been life-changing for the learning experience. And going into next year, I've got a pretty clear picture where I want to go now. And I look forward to sharing that with you through October, November, December. And in January, I'll probably do the same as this. I'll share with you either recording from Property Entrepreneur or do it for you on the podcast and share with you what 2023 looks like. In my head, I've already got a draft title, but I'm not going to tell you what it is yet. So hope you enjoyed that. That is the year of. If you've not already signed up for Property Entrepreneur 2023, feel free to reach out. If you email email bianca.o'connor at property-entrepreneur.co.uk, or go on the website and just call the number on there, or send a message through the contact form. If you've not already secured your place to join us in October, we still have, I believe, 4 or 5 places available. It starts on the 7th of October. You'll come through this journey with us. If there was ever a year to do it economically, without a doubt it is now. I'm doing a presentation this week at Property Entrepreneur to take the delegates through the bounce back boom. There's going to be so much challenge and conflict and concern and fear in the market. The opportunities for those who move are going to be endless. And also the penalty to those that don't are going to be high. There's a lot of very real economic challenges coming up. There's a storm coming and you don't want to get caught out in it. So drop the team a message and we can have a chat about seeing whether it's right for you, whether you're right for Property Entrepreneur. We can go from there. But until then, that was my 2022 year of presentation. I hope you enjoyed it. And whether you do Property Entrepreneur with us or without us through October, November, December, focus on what your year of could be. Your 3 personal objectives, your 3 professional objectives. And remember, you've got 2 choices, a life by design or a life by comparison. And having done this for 20 years and taught it for a decade, I guarantee you, when you start to take control of your life and do your own thing, everything becomes far more enjoyable, progresses far quicker, and is far more rewarding. Whether it's wealth, health, or life by design, success and failure are both very predictable. And I hope you've enjoyed this podcast. And I will see you next week. Look forward to seeing you on the next week's podcast. Tune in next Tuesday for the next episode of the official Property Entrepreneur podcast. Success and failure are both very predictable. And I will catch you again next week.